Welcome back for another video. In this video we'll be looking at all the top players with predicted points in Gameweek 31 and over the next 5 game weeks to guide your transfer plans and captaincy. Before we get into it, as we approach the final stretch of the season, I strongly recommend becoming a Fantasy Football Scout member. You can join for only 1 month and benefit from the endless FPL tools available, such as player comparison, projected points and custom data tables. All the stats I mention in videos come from my tables and I've made them public for you to use. On top of that, becoming a member supports the channel as well, so to try it out, click the link at the top of the description. Big thanks to Scout for their support. With blank Gameweek 32 around the corner, we need to plan transfers carefully to ensure that we can field 11 players in the blank, with Brighton, Chelsea, Man United and Man City all blanking. Or likewise, if you plan to free hit the blank, then transfers need to be planned with double Gameweek 34 in mind as well, which are factored in projections over the next 5. With that in mind, top among all the goalkeepers this week is Edison, projected 4.2 points home against Leicester. Leicester, who have announced this week that Dean Smith will be taking charge for the remainder of the season. A pretty uninspiring appointment in the view of most fans, given his time at Aston Villa and Norwich. Man City have been ridiculous at home recently in terms of defensive numbers. Over their last 4 games, they haven't conceded a single big chance. For comparison, the next best is Spurs with 4 conceded. 205 minutes per expected goal conceded over that run. With Man City doubling in Gameweek 34 and expected to in Gameweek 37, Edison's a standout goalkeeper to consider for the run-in. At this point it's all about maximising fixtures. Lloris, De Gea and Ramsdale are projected 4 points each this week, but given Man United's double in 34 and expected double in 37, he's the best of the rest. As a reminder, this week Man City, Chelsea, West Ham and Man United are involved in European football before Gameweek 31, so hold your transfers as long as possible. Injury news this week could also dictate your plans, especially if Rashford's out long term. While we're talking about maximising fixtures, Brighton will play more games than any team for what remains of the season, 10 games in 8 game weeks. On top of that, they've got the blank in 32, meaning Brighton will have 3 double game weeks to fit all those 10 games in. Still misses out on the projections this week with Brighton away to Chelsea, but one to firmly have on your radar for only 3.9 mil. Alisson's another keeper to consider this week, away to Leeds and then home to Forest in blank Gameweek 32. On top of that, Liverpool have 2 home games in double Gameweek 34. 5.4 mil does make him the joint most expensive keeper, but as per the projections he's top over the next 5. Moving on to defenders, and with Spurs home to Bournemouth, it's the Spurs wing-backs that are on top, Porro and Perisic. Porro has 1 goal 1 assist since signing in January, and Perisic has 1 goal 6 assists this season. Given they only have single game weeks for the rest of the season, I'd only consider them as a short-term punt if you plan to wildcard in Gameweek 33 after the blank, which is a popular strategy for those still with the chip, as it lets you take a short-term punt or 2. It's crazy to call Trent a punt, but given the poor season he's had by his standards, at 7.3 mil he is a bit of a punt, but a very good one given the fixtures. You'll want to have at least 1 Liverpool defender for the blank in 32. If you plan to free hit that week, perhaps even 2 of Robertson. Liverpool still look a bit ropey defensively, but they've got some of the best games on the horizon, so he could be a season keeper with relatively low ownership at 17% overall. Arsenal are away to West Ham and Gabriel's projected 4.2 and Zinchenko 4. West Ham are still fighting for their lives, just 3 points above the drop, so this will be no easy game, and they have more than enough quality to stay up. No double game weeks for Arsenal for the remainder of the season unfortunately, but the next 2 are great games, after which point there will be some decisions to make on keeping or selling for double game week players. Robertson's fallen to 6.8 mil, so if you're tight for cash and can't afford Trent, he's also worth consideration. His underlying numbers aren't as strong as Trent's, but he's still capable of returning in any given game week. And in the Arsenal game he had a big chance, played through by Fabinho, which he drilled narrowly wide. Onto the midfielders, and it's Salah top with 6.1 points projected against Leeds. In the Arsenal game last game week, Salah registered his highest ever XG total in a single match. Owners can feel very unlucky after he missed a penalty, leaving him on 5 points. His projections over the next 5 are staggering, and still relatively lowly owned at around 26%, so this is your opportunity if you're looking for one. Obviously the issue of Salah is his price, and he's not easy to get to, particularly if you own the likes of Haaland, Kane and Bruno, maybe even all 3. De Bruyne is second, projected 5.9 points this week home to Leicester. De Bruyne blanks in Gameweek 32 while Salah doesn't, which might be something to consider depending on your chip strategy if you're looking for a premium mid to bring in. Both great differentials as far as the premium goes. Saka's projected 5.5 points for the West Ham game, along with Bruno who also has 5.5 against Forest. Man United are likely to be without Rashford, who will be a big miss in their attack, and Forest are no pushovers at home. Odegaard just about makes the top projections while Martinelli just misses out. It's hard to make the case that Saka's actually worth the money of Martinelli, given the Brazilian's on more points now and he has a higher expected goal involvement this season, and that's without penalties. If you're forced to sell Rashford this week, it's something to weigh up, especially if you could put the extra 2 mil to good use. Grealish and Mahrez are expected to start again against Leicester, and they make the projections. Grealish will be another very popular Rashford replacement, and he put up 1 goal, 1 assist last week again, second game week in a row, back-to-back 12 pointers. On to the forwards, and Haaland's top projected 7.7 points. Again, to reiterate the point at the start, hold your transfers and wait for all European games to be played before locking anything in, particularly captaincy. What we do know is that the Leicester game comes sandwiched directly between 2 games against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Is there a possibility of Pep giving Alvarez a start and resting Haaland? It might not happen, but it could be something to consider as far as captaincy, given the alternatives such as Kane and Salah this week. Looking at the other forwards, Darwin's too much of a minute's risk at the moment, unfortunately. One to avoid with 2 benched in his last 3, and rarely completes the 90 when he does start anyway. Jesus has come back into our thinking though, especially those not free hitting in 32. In his 2 starts since returning from injury, he has 3 goals, with West Ham next, who just let in 5 home to Newcastle, and then Arsenal home to Southampton in Gameweek 32. If you are an Isak owner, all the names here look viable, bar Darwin, Wilson and Martial. The Newcastle striker situation looks like whichever's in form stars, but will come off early for the other. So although Wilson could smash it while he's still starting, it is a risky one, and Martial's extremely risky as well, given he's just back from injury, and you won't be surprised if he gets re-injured or an impact sub for now. That wraps up the video, thanks for watching. Lots more FPL content to come this week, so make sure you subscribed. See you soon for the next one.